All right, awesome. I think all of us are live. A
Yes.
very, very good evening to everyone in the audience. Thank you for joining us today on UpStart Live. This is the third edition of Women at Workplace that we are doing. And I'm truly honored to be in the company of like five amazing women today. They come from all walks of life, different experiences, different skill sets, different things they do. But what really binds them together is a lot of passion for what they do, their ambition, their drive, and the amazing inspiration that I get from them just by being on this platform. So thank you so much to all the panelists for joining us. Thank you to the amazing audience we have. Thank you for joining us live. For everyone in the audience, if you have any questions through the session, please feel free to sort of share them in the comment section. In the interest of time, I'll request you to be topical and stay close to the topic whenever you ask a question, so we can address them through the session. Just to give everyone an idea, what we're going to do today is a little bit of introductions in the beginning. Then I have some really amazing questions for our five panelists, and then we will take some questions from you as well. So that's how we will roll today. All right, so I'll start with myself. I'm part of the communications team at PayU. I'm Shreya, and I'm the moderator for the session. And with me, I have got five amazing women who I'll now request to introduce before we really get into the panel discussion, right? So I'll start with Shalini. We can't hear you, Shalini, if you can just unmute yourself.
Hi, very good evening to everyone. Myself, Shalini Saraf. I'm Director Enterprise Strategy Team at PayU, and I'm very happy and excited to be here. Thank you so much, Shreya, and thank you all beautiful ladies.
Thank you so much, Shalini. Saakshi, if you go next.
So thanks, Shreya. Hi, everyone. It's really good to meet you all through this chat and really looking forward. So I'm Saakshi Agarwal. I am part of the strategy and FP&A function at Wibmo, which happens to be a group company of PayU. And additionally, I'm chief of staff to our global CEO. It's been about 2.5 years for me and been a delightful journey. And really looking forward to our next 50 minutes or so.
Thank you, Saakshi. Paulami.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Paulami. I lead data science and engineering for our PayU Insights line of business. And I too look forward to having an engaging conversation with you all the ladies and the audience out there.
Thank you, Paulami. Ritika.
Hi everyone. Okay, this is Ritika. I am executive assistant to the CEO at PayU, and I'm very excited to be not only representing myself, plus the EA community, which gets this opportunity very less. So I'm very happy to take on questions and answer whatever questions you have for me.
Thank you, Ritika. Priyam.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Priyam. I'm a part of the Global Sales and Partnerships team at PayU India, where I manage merchants from across the world, and I also lead the cross-border remittance piece at PayU. I have a work experience of around 8 years, and I've been associated with PayU for about 2 years now. And being a feminist myself, I'm elated to be a part of this discussion. So really looking forward to it. So thank you, Shreya, for inviting me.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your introductions. I'd like to actually kick off the session by wishing all of you a belated Happy Women's Day. It's March, it's the last day of March, so we must do this. I do have a set of questions for all of you, and I'd like to actually go ahead and kick off those questions. Again, a note to the audience, if you have any questions through the session, please do fill it in the comment section, right? Okay, so I'm going to actually start with Saakshi. So Saakshi, from your introduction, we really heard that you are already a finance, FP&A and strategy professional. You have an illustrious career there, and now you're also the chief of staff to the global CEO, right? So I can assume they're very demanding jobs. almost like two jobs, right? So there is a popular perception that we often hear, right, across industries, especially when it comes to women, that, if you give women too many responsibilities, it impacts their efficiency, they cannot manage it, and all of that, right? While that is still changing, my question to you would be like someone who's juggling two full-fledged roles. Like, what's your take on this perception, and how do you really personally address such mindsets?
Thanks, Shreya, for the question. So, I think just going by how my journey has been professionally, been fortunate to be a part of very evolving organizations. So, I know this thought process is prevalent, but I think I've been in multiple hats through most of my stints at different organizations. So I know for a fact that this myth is breaking gradually, and maybe it's because people are evolving and they want to think basis aspirations, basis skill, rather than the gender part of it, which is a very welcoming change. And like I said, I've been very fortunate to always have that mindset when it comes to my mentors, my managers at Wibmo, PayU, or even my earlier stints. So, Shreya, to your question, I think it just is very dependent on where you work. PayU as an organization, as a group, and all its group companies are really fantastic places to work. So I would not say that for me it's like a dated perception, if you ask me, because it's been a while that I came across, and yeah, I think it's dying its slow death gradually. And it's very welcoming to see that people are increasingly focusing on how you're performing as an individual, what skill sets you have. There's a very high adherence or interest in helping you grow as a company grows. So I think that's what I love about where we work.
Absolutely agree with you, Sakshi. And I think it's also about the fact that we are ambitious and we aspire to do certain things, and we have that opportunity to do it
Yes.
within the PayU organization. I think that's an amazing thing. Thank you so much, Sakshi, for your answer. And I'm really glad that you also agree that the situation is changing. That is really a positive thing for all of us right now in this
Yeah,
platform,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sakshi. On the question of ambition and being an ambitious professional, Paulami, I'll just sort of switch over to you. And before I actually ask you the question, I wanted to tell you that I happened to sort of hover on your LinkedIn profile when I was doing my research, and I happened to see that you have added an experience as parenting, right? And I really love the fact that you have articulated the skills. You've really quantified the various skills that are required for parenting, exactly how you would really articulate your professional experience, right? And being the amazing professional that you are, and that we know that you are, I wanted to know, have you ever been questioned on your abilities as being what you are as an ambitious professional because of your parental responsibilities? Has there been ever any bias throughout your career journey? And if there has been, how have you broken such mind barriers?
Yeah. So thank you about that note. I put it because I honestly believe parenting is a full-time job, and why not, right? It is enjoyable, and it's exactly what it is. So when it comes to facing any sort of biases as a parent, to be honest, in the last 4 odd years, I haven't faced bias as a parent. Right? Of course, I've taken a year off, and even for that, people haven't really batted an eyelid when I came back.
Awesome.
But what I must say here is, I think more than being a parent, being a woman and being a woman in a leadership role, there are some binds that I've come across, and more so recently as I grow more and more in my span of leadership and management. And I think one of the key binds that come in is that situation where, as a woman, you're expected to be warm and nice and collaborative. And at the same time, as a leader, you need to be competitive, tough, and decisive. And as you can imagine, these are like polar opposite
Yeah.
traits.
Yeah.
And as a man, you'd get away with a lot of these stuff, right? You're not
True.
expected to be this and that. Society doesn't expect you to be caring and warm, but as a leader, tough and independent. So I think as a woman, and this a lot of people might chime in, especially in the tech field, there's always that line that I must straddle, and I feel like I must consciously straddle because I've felt it. The feedback that I get, the vibes that I get. Sometimes it's directly spoken to my face. It's not flexible. What does that even mean?
Mm.
Um, so, of course, feedback aside, I don't think this can be alleviated over a day. I think these are societal expectations. I think society as a change must slowly morph into making space for women to be women and leaders. But in
True.
the meanwhile, I think since you asked if there are some things that I keep in practice, probably as hacks to straddle this, right? Demanding, caring, authoritative, participative, maintaining distance, yet being approachable. There are three things that I think has worked so far.
Mhm.
One is, I think we as women and women in general, we must never be shy. We must never shy away from speaking with assertion and acting decisively. Often we tend to second guess ourselves a lot in meetings, in decision points, in strategy making, right? Do I know all of it? If I don't, I better keep quiet because I don't know what I'll say. Just go ahead and say it because nobody knows 100%. It make your voice felt, put your opinion on the table because we are there for that. As leaders, this is so key. You are there because of your opinions and you should be confident. Even if you think a lot of people will not accept it, just go ahead and do it because I think it shows a lot about that confidence. The other is, and I think that's where the softer aspect comes, and we as women have a natural advantage that even when you're leading and leading something as sort of robotic as technology, ultimately you're leading people. Even when you're leading teams or you're leading stakeholders, you're leading people.
Yeah.
And the more you become a leader, the more you face that reality. So I think a people first approach, understanding what clicks people and then trying to influence them rather than by hard cold facts. And I think this is relevant for everybody, but especially women leaders. People tend to see it more kindly than, right? Okay, and we have an innate ability to do that. I must say that
True.
to understand better the emotions and facts.
True.
And I think the last thing, and I think it's probably the most important one as I'm growing up in my career, is to have a tender heart, but to have a thick skin, right? Uh, Let nobody define you. I mean, it's you take feedback, but let it not rile you. Let it not get inside you because I think the more I've advanced in my career, the more I hear criticism, the more I hear, "Hey, you've been wrong there." The more I hear sort of things which can be perceived as aggression. If I take all of it to heart and not let it roll back on me, I will fall
Yeah.
sick within a day.
Yeah.
So I think that the tender heart part stays, but you gotta develop a thicker skin and not let things define you. I mean, you need to be secure in who you are. Easier said than done. I'm not there, but I always try that. So yeah, so I think these things have helped me as a parent, as a mother, as a woman. I think uniquely as a woman, we need to be mindful of all.
Absolutely. Amazing. Those 3 points, even I'll try to remember for myself. And I could see everyone nodding, so I'm sure everyone agrees with you. So I'll take those three things: assertive, people first, and having a thick skin, but a tender heart, right? Thank you so much, Paulami. Amazing and very motivating for that. I'm sure also for the audience. Thank you so much for that. Ritika, coming to you, I remember in your introduction you spoke about representing the EA
Yes.
community,
Yeah.
and having worked with you and many of your colleagues
Yeah.
very closely, I know how the role is often misconstrued to the extent that a lot of people feel that, okay, what is it? What is there really to do? What skills do you really need? And it sort of undermines the importance it has, right? And I wanted to really honestly ask you this, that have you had really occasions in your career where your efforts have been undermined or questioned because of the general perception people have about the role of an executive assistant, and how you've handled such situations?
So, I would like to start with it's not an easy gig to be a EA. First of all, I think it's very misunderstood and it's a complex role. And it's I would put it as I felt through the years it's a very thankless role, and the executive assistants are those superheroes without a cape, right? They will mostly be individual contributors in their role, but they will still be managing an army. So,
Yeah.
managing people and instructing people, giving instructions to people who don't report into you is not an easy thing to do, and getting people to work. So I think first and basic thing that what I've learned over the years, and thankfully I've had good mentors, is to handle things, you should know your work well, and you should know your position well. If you undermine yourself as a EA, that I have only scheduled this meeting and I'm done,
Yeah.
then you cannot, then it's very difficult. The only way to handle is knowing your position, when
Your
you
worth.
manage this worth. So
Yeah.
it's not about me. Over the years, it's been 10 years and I've worked with so many EAs.
Hmm.
We have been undermined. The position has been undermined to a level where I've seen so many EAs just believing to the fact that they don't see a growth or development of the organization. They restrict themselves to just doing the basics,
Mm-hmm.
which which is not my experience with all the EAs. But thankfully I've had good mentors, and especially at PayU, I have good mentors who have made me believe that no, I was at that point in my career where I thought there's no growth and nothing happening here. But they made me believe no, once you realize your potential and the important responsible position that you hold, which is much more of responsibility than any other position in a company, then you
Mm-hmm.
realize that it's just not about managing calendars. So yeah, there have been multiple instances. They still happen every day. But to quote a few, I think early on in my career, I've always been very outspoken and putting my opinions ahead. Early on in my career, I have been multiple times, and I had just started, and they felt, she's just a kid. She scheduled a meeting. So I've been cut down on my opinions. And when I start giving my opinion, no, like for a smaller thing, like, this is not the hotel we should do, the other hotel is what we should consider. I've been cut down on that also, because obviously that feel that I cannot make decisions. They can give me instructions and I should do it. But then over time, I stood my ground and made sure I give my opinions all the time. And the right people always understand. And then when you are smart, when you know your work, I think it matters. So I think other instance has been, which I think is not only related to EAs, but your peers highlighting your mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And specifically being a EA, when you report into someone very senior, your mistakes stand more serious than anybody else's in the company, because it's the senior level and very important things that you manage.
True.
So I've had people out of insecurity or whatever, or thinking that I cannot work well,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting my mistakes, too. But I think the way to handle that earlier in my career or even now is taking accountability of
Mm-hmm.
I handle such important role, and you tend to do mistakes, everybody does.
Yeah.
Just that my mistakes will be much more serious than what others do.
I
So
hear
yes,
you.
accountability and working on my mistakes, and holding the ground that yes, I did this and this is how I will change it. Most of them with these years of experience as an EA, how to stop the storm before it hits and damages everything.
Right.
So yeah. So yes, I mean, these are mainly, matlab, all the things are related to these instances only, and this
Mm.
every day people thinking that you should not give opinions. I still get cut down on my opinions, and I don't stop speaking. And
You're
people in
already being assertive as
yeah,
followers
so
here.
people insecurities of I have been attacked directly on my behavior, and being told that she cannot do this on my face. And I think the way I handled, because the person I am was doing it perfectly, which is this is how I handle things. If I being told that I can't do a certain thing, I'll make sure that I do it more perfectly to prove that things are not. So yeah, I think the only thing that the EA should understand, it's a very important role, and they should stand their ground, keep giving their opinions, and make them recognize themselves, so that others know that you play a very important role in the decisions that your manager also makes. It's not only about you; it's about my manager's decision as well.
Right, right. So if I have to summarize what you said, Ritika, you're saying that as much there is a lot of misconception about what an EA does, there
Yes.
is also a lot of responsibility on the EAs themselves to,
Yeah.
conduct them in a particular way, take
Yes.
accountability, be responsible,
Yes.
understand they have a lot of potential and they can contribute.
They do,
overall?
because I feel in terms of skills, while I see even when people take interviews, they just see the basic skills of years. The JD will only say calendar management, event management, etc., etc. But I feel the JD should also say negotiation skills, people management skills, marketing, external managing,
Absolutely.
external merchants, communication. So there's so much more. We wear multiple hats, but it's just goes underwater because just it is not part of the basic JD. The basic JD, the highlight is calendar management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am hoping this conversation becomes the talking point of some
Yes.
change
Yes.
for the entire EA community. I'm really hoping.
I want to make sure it does.
I can vouch for that. You will do
Yes.
something about it. But
Yeah.
thank you so much. I love that openness, and thank you for taking that accountability
Yeah.
yourself and doing what you do. I know how important you are, and you and everyone in your
Yes.
community
Of course.
within PayU, they're like the backbone for the leadership,
Yes.
and
Yes.
all of you are amazing. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
bringing
Thank
that
you.
to the table every day.
Yeah.
All right, okay, time to turn to Priyam. Priyam, about you, of course, everybody knows, like you said in your introduction, you are excelling in business development, operations, sales, account management. What a lot of people don't know is that you're also a passionate travel blogger. I happen to see some of that myself, and I cannot believe you're so passionate about it. And I know how good you are at your work. So obviously the question in my mind is like, how do you really balance both of them, and how do you actually dissociate the two sides? I think both are very different, right? In terms of what you do in your day job and what your passion is are very different, right? It's like two different personalities, right? So how do you really manage it? What really motivates you to do it? It's a demanding job through the day. How do you make time for it? What is the motivation you have, and how do you think it has affected your career overall?
Yeah, thank you, Shreya, for the question. I think it's a really apt one and something that I am asked quite often by people who really know that I wear these two hats. I would say that there's a really pertinent part of my answer that's really hidden in your question, and that answer is passion, and that is what makes it so effortless for me. People who know me know the fact that I'm extremely passionate about payments. It's like my newfound love, and similarly, I am equally passionate about reading, writing, and traveling. A friend of mine had once told me something long back, and it has stuck with me. She said that you will never find time to do something extra. You have to make time for it. So just like people make time for their families, they make time to eat, sleep, go to the gym, etc., etc. I just make time for writing and traveling. The fact that I love experiences and traveling and always kind of being on my toes, that is something that makes it easy for me. It is something that I look forward to post work. And I think everyone should really have something in their lives to look forward to post work. That is what we were taught as well when we were kids, right? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So I think I really kind of think that's true. And these days as well, we talk so much about work life balance, and it's really important because the beauty of this balance is that it does not really come at the cost of each other. Like work and life, they complement each other, and we have to find happiness in both. And that's what I try to do. So that's mostly about answering your question about mostly juggling between these two roles. And how it has affected my career, I would say that it has rather helped me and made me more confident, because being a content creator or an influencer is a tough job in itself. One needs to be very confident and fearless about genuinely posting about the happenings in your life publicly. So as a travel blogger, I have experienced so much I think I would have never experienced otherwise. I've traveled to like 10 odd countries. I've reviewed over 100 properties and restaurants, tried a gazillion cuisines. In the journey, I've met tons of people from all walks of life. It has only kind of widened my horizons. It has helped me evolve personally as well as a working professional. And in my current role as a global sales professional, I think this part of my personality has helped me overall. As I think I can speak about anything under the sun with my colleagues and clients, be more creative at what I do at work, bring a different perspective to the table, kind of build, create, and network and connect with people more effortlessly. The most important traits I believe as a content creator or a blogger are authenticity, genuineness, and honesty. And quite frankly speaking, I think these three traits have helped me in my professional career as well, immensely, I would say. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So, if I have to again summarize what you said, is that if you are passionate about something, make time for it, do it. Otherwise, you're going to repent later, and there is a lot of learning in whatever you do. So, if you
That's
have a passion, just go for it,
yes.
right? Awesome. Thank you so much, Priyam. And I'll move on to Shalini, our last panelist. And Shalini, the question I have for you is like summarizing the discussion. So, you've had extensive experience in the financial services sector, right? Whether it's banking and now fintech. What I am sort of curious to know is that in all these years, you really seen the topography change for female leaders, and if it has, where have you seen maximum progress, and where do you see there are still gaps which need to be addressed?
Okay. Thank you, Shreya. A very interesting question and excited question has been posed to me. Thank you so much. I think on which I can speak endlessly, but let me speak briefly about it.
Sure.
So, 17 years back, when I joined financial service sector, the topography was skewed. Yes, female were there, but less, and were preferred mainly on junior or operational role, and majority of the middle or senior management were male that point of time. Also, in the total population of staff, the ratio of female versus male was very low. Visibility of performing female was low because of the sheer mismatch. There was
Mm-hmm.
a mindset that female are not serious about the career at that point of time, maybe because of family, marriage, and lots of other commitments. Female had to struggle a lot and continuously was under pressure to overperform to change this mindset. I think everybody will agree on this if they have seen that, 17 years back. I don't know. Uh, yes, it was tough, and female had to struggle a lot to underperform, to change this mindset because of the squeeze population of workforce during that point of time. Mostly during promotion, mostly went to male counterparts, and women felt neglected that point of time. But the women who were persistent in performance and kept going at it achieved also, though their numbers seemed less. But believe me when I say that it is tough but not impossible. Mind you, all over the period of this time was changing as the society, organizational thinking was opening up, as the financial service industry itself started expanding lot of job opportunities to create get the female gender inclined and enrolled highly into business based education system by this time. Of course, the credit goes to those female workforce who in the past have proven their might
Yeah.
through their resilience and hard work. I think they have shown the world that given a chance, they can achieve anything. Hats off to them, which have changed and helped shift the mindset. The business and organizations also started working on closing this gap of disparity, which has resulted today in seeing women power in powerful roles. Nowadays, more awareness and conversation on gender equality is happening, which is very good sign.
Yeah.
Business are focusing on ratio of female versus male, but still, I think there is long way to go. Organization need to attract and develop more women in leadership roles, company wide. Company need to break down gender career path so women don't get stuck in a job silos. So yes, I think we are lucky now and we are here. Thank you to everyone, and amazing ladies are working and they are at powerful roles, and I'm really proud of that. Thank you, Shreya.
Thank you so much, Shalini. It's very reassuring to know that the scenario is changing. Like it came across in everyone's answers, and I think that's the biggest takeaway we have for today's session. I'll say. We have, I think, a question coming in from our audience. So I'll probably first take that. Deepthi has actually posted a question for you, Priyam. And I'd actually read out the question first and you can respond. So, what Deepthi says is, I saw your post on LinkedIn on Women's Day and I felt it was a unique way of sharing your thoughts. In a life which is so hectic yet so monotonous, what is your idea generating engine?
Yeah. Okay. So, firstly, thank you, Deepthi, for the question. I'm glad you remember my Women's Day post. So, for the interest of everyone listening to us right now, I had done this one post on Women's Day where I'd called out three of my all-time favorite advertisements that celebrate womanhood. One of them was a Mercedes-Benz ad on Bertha Benz. The second was Titan Raga's Break the Bias, and the third was Dairy Milk's Good Luck Girls. I think the post came naturally to me because these adverts are so beautiful that they have left a mark on me. But Deepthi, I'm glad you think I have a unique way of expressing my thoughts. All I really try to do is be real and authentic. Maybe I am a little right brained, so that helps with the creative juices flowing in. Also, I think to write well or to express your thoughts well, it's very important that you read a lot. So if you ask me, I don't really have a favorite genre. I can read anything. I actually read anything I can lay my hands on. And I think, one should read anything and everything because that's like your gateway into reading, and then eventually you move ahead to kind of read more esoteric books. So that's about it. And I think with respect to what really keeps me going, I would say it's spending time with myself, having some me time. In my life I do a lot of things that I like, that gives me happiness. I never really compromise on that. So something small things like post work I take a walk all by myself for an hour. I listen to music. I kind of watch. I watch all kinds of movies. So all of that really helps. And I'm also very inquisitive in nature, so I kind of question things, and that has helped me, I believe, in my work as well, because then I kind of get into the nitty gritties of the product and solution, and it helps me have a better understanding of my work as well. Keeps me more informed, makes me more reflective in nature, and helps me add an overall perspective, work wise, and personally. So yeah, I think it's important we all do that, because if you continue to do the same things over and over again without questioning anything, and that's when the monotony creeps in. So yeah, that's how I battle monotony and bring an element of creativity in my life and work.
Awesome. Thank you, Priyam. I really loved the fact that you said, like you didn't say it, but if I sort of join what you said, you keep yourself first, and I think that's very important for all of us, right? Keeping ourselves first, focusing on ourselves, our wellness, everything is very very important. If you're innately happy, you can really follow your passion, you can do amazing at what you're doing. So I think that's true for all of us. We have another question which is not targeted to any panelists, so I'll keep it open, anyone can answer. So it says, does family setup stop you from moving forward in your career? Who would like to take that?
I am happy to take that if
Sure, go
I
ahead.
someone else can also. I think everybody. I'm very sure all the women have an answer to this one. So, but I would like to start the conversation going. So yes, I mean, I think as much we've improved and progressed, there is still. I would. So there's still we're always restricted to certain things. The benchmarks for women, they generally keep us from moving. We are always, like you said, keeping ourselves first is what is keeping us going. We've always been taught and wired in the way that we have to first take care, first keep the family first, the husband first, parents first, kids first. So that stops a lot of us, and it's very emotionally difficult to sometimes put ourselves first, but we have to. So
Mhm.
yes, I mean, I would not say that it doesn't matter. It does, a lot of times with everyone, in different stages of life, you will face a lot of restriction from your family, a lot of benchmarkings, and a lot of things they would not want you to do because society doesn't approve of it. But okay, I would just say keep yourself first. It's you first and then anything else.
Agree, agree. Anybody else wants to take it?
I can maybe bring in
Sure.
a slightly a different point of view than Ritika. I think I have been very very free right from the beginning in taking decisions, be it studies, be it career. I've moved between cities and I've been in boarding school, so it's very early in life. Right after say standard 10th, I think. So I've been out since I was not very old enough. So, and parents have been very supportive. I think they've given me a completely free hand, and we are three of us as in brother sisters. I think all three of us had very similar experiences, and uh, it happens to be a very big strength for me to like Paulami was saying, or Ritika or Shalini or Priyam, that it's very important to stand your ground. I think a good family support becomes that strength that helps you take the stand you want. Because frankly, I can very very and I think all of you will maybe agree with me at some point that I think family is the only constant that's there. So, and for me, that's all that matters actually. Because if it's right or wrong, I always think how my family is going to take it. If they are right beside me, I think that gives me all the strength to say the right things, or I mean, which are right as per me. But say the right thing, stand my ground, uh, don't lose hope, and all the positive things that keep you going. So for me, I was not really I wouldn't say struggling, or I wasn't really facing any hindrances or limitations as such. And yet the family values are pretty intact. So I think that takes me along wherever I head.
I'll add in a couple of sentences here, not much. Is reality check. If you are in a career path, which is, you know, a full-time job and you think it's taxing, and if you have a family, especially kids, flood your houses with help. That's the only way you can survive. Let me not mince words there. There is no two. Help can be family, like Saakshi mentioned, but help could also be being inventive about getting the right domestic staff support and setting up processes there. So all our planning minds and creative minds have to be put there. Otherwise, it's not possible. As I mean, it's not possible to have both. You know what I'm saying? It's never possible to have both, but you can have a semblance of it only if you plan well. And this is like the ground reality, nothing fancy. This is as raw as it gets.
It's true, so true, Paulami, because I'm thinking of myself here, and I remember it's also the way we are wired, right? We are told that we can be super women, we can do everything, right? And that's not possible. And because this is the way we are wired, I remember when my kid was small, I really hesitated getting any help, and I was like, I can do it no matter what. And then it was so draining, and then I literally had to tell myself, this is impossible. It's okay to get help, it's okay if people tell you something also, but let's get real, it's impossible to move on without help, whether it's from family, like you said, Polemy, whether it's domestic stuff or anything else. So I agree on that. Anybody else, any
Uh,
perspective in this
I think
question?
I kind of resonate with what Sakshi said. There's a saying that behind every successful man is a woman. I think behind every successful woman is a very supportive family. So I'm kind of lucky to have one who have always given me that space. And, I think that really kind of helps, for women to move ahead in their career.
For
Even
sure.
I agree. I agree with Sakshi and Priyam. Yes, Paulami. Yes, we are superwoman. We are strong, but yes, we need support, and we should ask for support. Family should support. Everybody should support, and I think, you know, everybody is there. It's just you have to ask, that there's nothing to ask. You need support, you need help. And I think family and friends are very important, and they will always look after you. This is my thinking.
True. That's true. That's true. We have another question which I find very interesting, and I'm going to throw it at all of you, and I'd ideally want all of you to answer. And this question is specifically talking about the various biases we spoke about, right? We spoke about the bias about a particular role when it comes to the EA community. We spoke about biases about working parents. There is a question that talks about the issues that we discussed right now. They sometimes apply to men as well. So, what is your take on it?
Let me attempt to maybe go first on this.
Sure, Sachi.
So, Shreya, I think the change starts from us, right? So, I think if we expect to be treated fairly, I think it's the bare minimum that we do that ourselves, and not only to women, but whoever you're working with, interacting with. It has to be equal. I mean, we can't expect to be treated equal and just, you know, be whatever with other people. So because it's like you lead by example, and we don't need to lead like a boss or a reportee kind of a lead, but you lead by example in your own way. So I think that's the change starts with you. I think the bare minimum, you be yourself, you stand your ground, but treat everyone fairly, give them their true share of uh, credit, give them their true share of compassion, kindness. I think that's when it resonates back to you, because if you are just one hell of a person, you can't expect everyone to be nice to you. So I believe very strongly it boomerangs back how you give it in the universe. So very basic ideology I try to follow in my day to day, even if it's office or home, or my helps at home. It shouldn't be linked to the gender at all.
True.
It has to be a fair uh, you know uh, kindness filled reciprocation.
Agree. Agree, Sakshi.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I'll take it's a very interesting question, and I'll start with the ground truth here. Right? When this panel was being put together, one of the questions I asked is why don't we have men on this panel? Right? Because if, like I always say, if women need to have a level ground, which is what the whole thing is about. It's not about giving anything up, anything additional. It's a level ground. Men are like 50% of the story. So I
True.
think whoever asked this is like spot on. Would want to celebrate. I would want the world to celebrate every father that is cracking at his job. I would think calling women superwomen is a disservice to them, because it's not something to celebrate, it's something to fix. We are all supposed to be human. Nobody's supposed to be superhuman. So nothing against, like, why doesn't think people of this other gender get called out? And I think things like parental leaves, flexible environments, I think in the same breath as we say it for ladies, we should say it for the gentlemen also, the men also, because that's where the balance will come in. So first of all, I really do want to put it. It's a great question because it gives me an opportunity to say this. This panel uh, could have done better having a man in it, right? Maybe their intellect, maybe they felt awkward, maybe that's a problem. I don't know. Right? And the other thing here is I would actually uh, argue a bit on why call out female leaders while the same doesn't happen for other genders. Well, I would argue that who told you the same doesn't happen for other genders? Have you heard of panels which are called manels? And do you think it's by design? Right? So it's not entirely true that it doesn't happen to the other gender. It's just that it happens so much that we don't question it. Right? And when we see a panel just full of women talking about women, we're like, oh, they're just talking about women. You don't see that the other thing happens often. Which is not to say, right? Like I said, we should have a balance everywhere. And yeah, it's just that. And I think a lot of what is being faced, right, is a hidden bias. It's not overt. Right? It's not overt. Your salary is never overt. this thing that I said, where I need to consciously balance being caring and assertive, is not overt. It's all covert. Overt is you feel it when you're there in it, but you're not feeling it if you're not in that position. So I think forums like this is necessary to bring that out, because if not for these forums, who will? You know, I think this lens of voice, that's why these forums are important. That's why they're being called out.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think I really agree to what Paulami said. I think that was kind of bang on that, maybe on the other side, it's happening so much that we don't even realize. And when something about, a female centric discussion is happening, we say, why call out female leaders? But to just add another perspective to it, I mean, we cannot deny the fact that we are a patriarchal society and it is male dominant. So I think it is to some extent important as well, because maybe I have not felt these boundaries or biases, conscious biases, but there are these it's inherent, and these are these unconscious biases that sometimes as females we come across. So I think such gatherings or such initiatives are, at least for me, I feel it's really heartening and should continue to happen.
Absolutely. Okay. There is one last question we will take, and this is again to everyone. What tip would you give your 16-year-old self? And I think we can go around the table. We start with Ritika.
Uh, I think I think I would. The only advice is, I was not this person was a 16 years. I was very closed and very how girls are expected to be. Though my parents are very open, and they I was been brought up very independently, but I was not this person. I was shy away from giving my opinions, from what I'm wearing, what I should say, how I should say it. I don't care about it right now. So I think this is what the advice I would give 16-year me is, just be myself. This is me. Accept yourself the way you are. You don't have to be as per what society thinks you should be. It's just do, stand your ground, like I always say. Do what your ambitions are. You should not give up on your dreams. Like I have, I have not done what I wanted to be at 16 years, because I thought that I cannot do it. I don't look like one. But now I feel, if I had this mindset what I have right now, because of the friends I've had, and the mentors I've had, the way I've grown as a person, if I had that early on in my life, I would have been in a maybe different profession also, and a different person. But yes, I think, yeah.
Awesome. Sakshi.
Maybe part of what Ritika said, but I would definitely tell my 16-year-old self to be a lot more daring, because I think it happened to me very late. I would have, I don't really regret not doing things, but I think just, being more, out there and doing things maybe a bit more confidently, be a bit more outspoken, care a little less about what others are saying or doing. I think, yeah, a little, maybe a lot more daring. I wish I would at 16-year-olds.
Shalini.
Yes, I agree with Sakshi. Daring is very important. I will say myself, enjoy, have fun, uh, meet lots of people, make friends, learn also, enjoy, and sharpen your skills. But yes, you should enjoy also fullest, because that is the best time you can have in your life.
Okay. Paulami.
Yeah. So all of that, plus, you'll be okay. There is not one path in life. Everything forks, and any path is well worth it, right? Um, don't fret. Anything that happens, you'll be fine. Good, bad, ugly. You'll find the strength, and you'll find the happiness when it happens. And it's not about setting goals. It's life always diverges. Just to be open that way. You'll be fine. You'll do great.
Awesome. Priyam.
Yeah, so I think again all of that, and I was such a nerd, when I was a kid. So I just wish I was not such a nerd when I was a kid. And right now, the kind of, the personality that I have right now, it's more evolved. And, I don't think the 16-year-old me was like that. I was really a big nerd. So I wish I wasn't that at 16.
Actually, this question is also directed to me. So I'll say at 16, I was very fearless. So I don't think I'm that fearless now. So I'd rather want that 16-year-old self of mine to advise me now to be that fearless and not really care about a lot of things, which I really didn't at that time. And I think twice now. So I think that's work I need to do on myself. But yes, I think that was the last question we had. We have about 9 minutes left. And I have one last question that's for all of you. And we spoke about breaking different biases. So just sort of summing that up, just taking your opinion, that we talk about breaking barriers, boundaries, biases at the workplace, right? So what is that one thing that all of you do in your professional life every day to make sure your workplace is inclusive, and you have that right environment where you can thrive?
Okay, I'll start.
Sure.
For me, the first and the most important step to overcome barriers, boundaries, and biasness in workplaces, initiate the conversation. It is very important. Initiate conversation with clear intention to change and improve the atmosphere. Eliminate one-side viewpoints. Be more open-minded. Include different people and ideas so everyone feel included and accepted. I very strongly advocate and work towards cohesion and collaboration, as this helps bring multiple people, diverse people on the same platform to achieve a common goal. Uh, this is very important, I feel, and it helps create space of teamwork, thus overcome boundaries. Always compliment people around you, as this creates positivity. This is very important.
Absolutely agree with you, Shalini. Thank you so much for that. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next probably. I'll take a step back and try to answer the question, like to break barriers, boundaries, or biases at workplace or anywhere really, and to be able to represent yourself at the workplace. I think firstly you need to have faith and confidence in yourself. You need to believe in yourself for other people to kind of believe in you. So for me personally, I believe I've been very lucky to be born and raised in a very progressive family that has taught me like no difference between man and woman, and I was always kind of raised to believe in myself and never think less of me. I come from a family of achievers, so there's always been this emphasis on education and value system, and emphasis on the significance of reading books and following your own passion. And in addition, like now as you all know, I'm very fond of traveling. So even while I was growing up, my dad was in a transferable job, so we used to kind of shift cities every 3-4 years. So I've led a very nomadic life and have had this opportunity to live in 6 different states in India. And this exposure has really made me who I am today. This is really kind of opened me to a lot of experiences. I mean, this upbringing, education that has been imparted to me, the grooming that I've gone through over the years, the traveling, it has just added to these various elements in my personality, and has contributed in shaping my life, and made me more confident enough to have a belief system that I kind of stick and abide by. So yeah, and from a perspective of work environment as well, I would say again that I think I've been lucky to have colleagues and leaders, PayU, and even in my previous stints, who have not really disapproved me on account of being a woman. I'm not saying that there have never been boundaries or biases. They could have been sometimes on occasions in accounts, sometimes conscious and unconscious. But one has to really break through. I strongly believe that it's not really about competition. It's about empowerment, and men and women contribute to the growth of the organization and the society together. Like conflict of any sort is not desirable.
True.
So yeah.
Okay. Who goes next? Sakshi?
Sure. I think for being inclusive and like I was saying, I think fairness goes number one on my chart. You be fair, you get treated fair. But what I also practice and what has helped me is to always, it's a very basic thing, but a lot of people miss it, is to listen to other people. I think that's very important when you want to make it an inclusive environment, because all of us work in fairly large teams. You can't just be the talking one. You have to listen, and people misunderstand. Hearing and listening are not the same thing. So listening is the main thing. You can hear a lot more people, but you actually should listen to what they're saying, which includes understanding where they're coming from, also giving them a fair chance to put their word. So I think that's really helped me to create a good working environment around my workplace. And also I feel that collaboration, making the other person also feel that they are here to contribute, they are critical, being their support system and not only look out for a support system, has worked wonders for me. So it's been very smooth, working with, be it very senior people, be it peers, or even interacting with any part of the organization. I think these two three basic thumb rules I make sure I never drop, and it helps me go through every day.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Sakshi. Yeah. Follow me.
Yeah, so when it comes to sort of taking care of the biases that creep in and make barriers, I can think of three concrete things which I realized I do. While I was thinking about this, I could note it, but it was not by design, but I guess it was somewhere at the back of my mind. One is I want to hire more ladies in my team. I have a team of around 24 people, and I think I have the best DNA ratio. If I say it myself, but I think that's what it is. You have more women, and you get more women. So I think I try to do my bit that way. And when I get these ladies or any other ladies, I try to give them the confidence that I wish someone gave me many, many years back. I have almost 15 years working. So I meet people who are 2, 3 years. So I tell them, hey, I tell them what I think I need to tell them, being ladies and mentoring and trying to sponsor the ladies in my team. So that's one thing. And the other is I'm always drumming up my travails and joys as a mother. So as a lady, of course, but as a mother. So the idea behind it is when you see me as a whole. I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I have 2 kids who, by the way, both of them have colds today. So I'm like in zombie mode, and everybody knows that. And I think that brings in a humanity about it, right?
Yeah.
It's an additional aspect that we want people to recognize that these things coexist, and we need to see more of it.
Absolutely. I think accepting your vulnerabilities is very important, rightly
Yes,
said.
not your one. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, yeah. That's you, Shreya. Sorry, I hijacked yours. But I'm just saying, being a mother is a strength, not a value.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you,
yeah. Absolutely. Okay, Ritika.
So, coming to your question, I think personally, I understand what you want to know is how do I promote inclusiveness at workplace. So, though I don't have a team, but the three aspects that I keep in mind while I talk to any of the people or the people that I work with. I think one is empathy. You have to understand people come from different backgrounds, different places, different wiring and different mindsets. So it's very important to empathize and to know where the person is coming from before judging anyone or expecting them to work or work the way you work or the company works. So people take time to
Mm-hmm.
come into their role from the backgrounds of the companies they work for, the families that they have, the experiences they had in life. So it's very important to have empathy. Two is initiate. It's there are some people you have to initiate conversations, talk to people, open up. Initiating opens up a lot of things with people, right? Some people wouldn't talk, and then they are introverts. They wouldn't never feel included. If I had a team, I would be the one who would initiate a conversation with everyone, initiate, talk to them about their what's their life, the personal life, if they're comfortable. So I think empathy, initiating, and sharing, Like, it's important. I remember we have this panel for women online, and
Yeah.
I feel it's so important that you share things that people will relate to, but they will never come out and speak.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have that, as a leader or someone senior, if you have the capability of sharing the things that people, that a lot of people go through, but they would shy away from saying it or sharing it. It's important to share and make it comfortable for people, that it's okay that there are others also who sail in the same boat. We have the same issues, same problems, everybody goes through this, and it's important. We are all inclusive, and we all go through those phases, so it's making people comfortable. That's all I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think personally, one thing that really works for me is being very open minded. Go with that open approach whenever you're talking to someone or meeting someone for the first time. And I'll relate with Priyam here a lot because, I also grew up in a very, very progressive household. Lot of reading books. Like my dad was like a voracious reader. He still is, and he still, kind of advises me to read a lot. So, when you read a lot, you get exposure to different cultures. And now with traveling, that has also happened. So that open mindset really helps. In my personal life, I have a 6-year-old son, and I try to make sure that whenever I'm talking to him, yeah, or whenever I'm telling him about household responsibilities and stuff, he associates it with both the father and the mother. So in his head, it shouldn't be like, okay, so domestic stuff, kitchen stuff, mother is supposed to do, and it's not the father's job and stuff like that. So I try to break barriers there as well, and I'm sure all of you do it in your roles in your personal life as well. So I think we're all trying, and we are getting there, and we will get there soon. So I think, yes, we are past the time. So I'll say thank you, all of you. It was an amazing discussion. I personally loved interacting with all of you. I think it was very organic. I can go on for another hour, but let's be reasonable. And thank you so much for being so honest, sharing all your views. Thank you to our audience for being so patient and sharing those questions. And we'll come back again with Upstart Live, the next edition, whenever it happens. So stay tuned to our LinkedIn page. And thank you so much. And have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, Shreya,
Thank
and
Thank
thank you,
you.
you.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Shreya.
Bye.